pivotal day back here in Chicago, where voters are deciding on the city's next mayor. With just under 3 hours left now until the polls close, candidates, they are sweeping the city to sway any last-minute voters. A recent Northwestern University poll of likely voters had Paul Vallas and Brandon Johnson in a virtual neck-and-neck heat for the mayor's seat.
The Chicago Board of Elections says turnout has been similar to the February primary, but they do expect lines to begin picking up in the next hour or so. Political editor Mike Flannery will have an update on voter turnout in just a moment.
But first, let's get over to the candidates' campaign headquarters. Let's start with Dane Placco, who is live with the Paul Vallas camp. Dane.
Yeah, we're in a basement ballroom at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on East Wacker, a ballroom that's essentially empty right now, as you can see, other than the people here to cover the campaign tonight. As for Vallas, he did make a handful of last-minute campaign stops earlier today, and he also voted around 10 o'clock this morning at Healy School in Bridgeport. That's the neighborhood where he's been living for the past year or so. Now, Vallas has run for public office a number of times, including Illinois governor, but he's never won a general election. His advisors telling me this afternoon they feel that's going to change tonight. They say voter turnout has been solid in those wards where Vallas did well in the primary, like the 11th ward, the 41st, and the 19th ward on the far south side. In fact, one of Vallas's strategists told me the number of people voting in the 19th ward is equal to 5 other wards put together. They are concerned, though, about indications that 18 to 34-year-old voters are turning out in better than average numbers for this type of race. Younger voters more likely to vote for a progressive like Brandon Johnson. Now, as for Vallas himself, he talked briefly after voting today, saying he believes he's in good shape to become Chicago's next mayor.
It's been a great campaign. It's certainly been exhilarating, and I've, I like to think that I've focused on the issues that are important to Chicagoans and the issues that Chicagoans can unite around. Issues like public safety, issues like quality schools, and issues like equity and affordability.
Now, as for those concerns that there are still thousands, tens of thousands of mail-in ballots that are yet to come in and could cause an outcome to this race to be delayed for a couple of days, Vallas says he's not worried about that. He's willing to wait. Live at the Hyatt Regency, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
I'm Nate Rogers in Logan Square, where all day long it's been a very busy day for Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson. We spoke to Johnson about 30 minutes ago here outside of Goethe Elementary, where he greeted many voters. Now, Johnson cast his own ballot early this morning at the Lorraine Hansberry Apartments. In total, he has more than 15 stops scheduled today, reminding voters of his plan for a, quote, safer Chicago. Although recent polls show Paul Vallas in the lead, Johnson is confident that his work as an organizer will not only unify the city, but he plans to employ more young people, increase mental health resources, and invest funds into underprivileged neighborhoods. Johnson's critics, however, question if he's qualified for the job. Also, based off his own remarks, critics believe he'll defund the police. We spoke to Johnson about it just a short time ago. Take a listen. A lot of people are voting for you, man. A lot of people believe that you're winning. But in all honesty, there are a lot of folks that are in fear. They're in fear that you are going to defund the police. They're in fear that you're going to be a puppet for the teachers union. How do we know the person that we see right now on the campaign trail will be that same person, that same brother on the 5th floor of City Hall? Yeah. Don't give me a talking point.
No, of course. Listen, I was raised to treat people and to love people the way you would love your own family, and that's the part that I'm looking forward to. The city of Chicago has been through quite a bit. I understand some of the trepidation that exists out there, but there is a better, stronger, brighter day ahead, and I'm going to be the mayor of the city for everyone, because that's what the city needs, considering the type of divisiveness that has gone on for a very long time.
Now, Johnson's strategist told me that he's grown tremendous support from progressives and young people. Johnson says that he is optimistic that he will go to the 5th floor as Chicago mayor. We're live in Logan Square. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
I'm political editor Mike Flannery. Elections officials say voter turnout has been light in most of Chicago, though it was pretty good prior to today.
While early voting was definitely strong and swift, it looks like we're heading back into somewhat of a slow and sleepy election day. Just like February 28th, it's becoming clear that we have probably a similar amount of total voters for municipal elections in Chicago, but that people were fired up to early vote and to get their vote by mail ballot back earlier than previous municipal elections.
Still, as you can see, there were lines at a few polling places, notably the so-called super site downtown, where voters from any ward were able to cast a ballot. Observers say that since Brandon Johnson is expected to do better than Vallas among the vote-by-mail ballots that are left to be counted after tonight, Vallas this evening needs to build a lead.
I think Brandon Johnson can win up to 70% of those outstanding mail ballots. And so the math works out to be Paul Vallas needs an 18,000 vote lead, or about a 3% lead, to declare victory.
So those are just some of the numbers we'll be watching tonight. I'm political editor Mike Flannery.